What exactly are the most made and remade movies of all time? Is it Batman? Is it Sherlock Holmes? Is it Tarzan, Frankenstein, Dracula? Let's discuss what they are in this episode of Raiders of the Lost Podcast.
What's up, movie friends? Welcome back to the ultimate film and TV podcast, Raiders of the Lost Podcast. And we're here to discuss what the most made movies are. We have a bunch of movies on this list, properties, IPs, famous characters. We have a mix of classic novels from literature, Shakespearean plays, superhero characters, monsters,
aliens. Are there aliens on here?
As well as some really cool surprises that I did not know. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this many movies have been made of this story. So honestly, yeah, we're in a world of remakes, but Hollywood has always been remaking movies. And even in the UK as well. Remakes have always like built studios. Universal was built on its remakes and sequels of monster movies. So
and then Western. So we're going to cover remakes, reboots, and just new versions. Like how many times this character's been made into a movie? How many times has it been remade? Like,
Origins.
So not necessarily like a remake, but
Yes.
how many times this version, this IP has been made.
Yeah, how many times it's been adapted. And it's really surprising, some of these. I was pleasantly surprised to see a couple of these. There are a couple names you'll come to expect, but I'm telling you, some of these are pretty cool.
Some of them are a little shocking.
And we're ordering this episode in the least number of adaptations to the most adaptations of the stories. And man, there are some properties that have had a ton of movies. These are feature-length films that we're doing. We're not doing little shorts and we're not doing TV episodes. We're doing full-on films here.
Yeah, and of course there are some that didn't make the list, so let us know if there is an IP, a character, a book, or an adaptation that's been made several times that we did not include. But let's start with the first on our list, with 4 versions of this movie. So technically there have been 3 remakes after the original. The original was in 1937. We're talking about A Star is Born, most recently made by Bradley Cooper in 2018. It was also made in 1976, 1954, and again, the original version was in 1937. Obviously, they're not exactly remakes. The story's very similar, but just using contemporary music, contemporary filmmaking techniques to make them very different. I mean, the Bradley Cooper version from 2018, starring him and Lady Gaga, very different than the 1937 version directed by William Wellman. However, the same kind of story is there.
I think A Star is Born is a movie franchise that works for remakes, where it's like music and performance evolves so much. The actual medium of it evolves, where it's okay to be like, let's do a new interpretation of the story because, like you said, it's so much different from almost 100 years ago. So you can tell the story in a completely new way. And the landscape of music changes to now, in 2018, we get pop music in it with Lady Gaga's character. And so the Streisand Christopherson one was good. It's mostly like rock and roll. But I like 2018. We get the bluesy southern rock with the high pop.
Y'all know how much I love A Star is Born.
James loves it.
Plus, it's a great title for a movie, and A Star is Born. Stars still get born. They're still discovered, so it's really relevant as hell.
They still get born, man.
They still get... They're still discovered.
Those stars are getting born, man. Let me tell you.
They're born all the time.
Let me tell you, they're boring.
Born quite often.
Quite. Those births.
They're out there.
Do you think this baby is a star? We'll
Probably
see.
not.
Yeah, we'll see.
Probably not. Odds are no. It's pretty rare.
Next up, Hannibal Lecter has been adapted into 5 different films. A couple of them are remakes. So Manhunter was the first major film release, which is a really, really fantastic film. I highly recommend checking out Manhunter. Silence of the Lambs, obviously, the most famous than Hannibal. Red Dragon, which is Manhunter, same book. It's basically a remake of Manhunter. And then Hannibal Rising, which is the origins of Hannibal Lecter.
Plus, I mean, TV show Hannibal as well.
Yes.
Which do you prefer, Manhunter or Red Dragon?
Manhunter.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's Michael Mann, baby.
It's Michael Mann.
Michael Mann. But they're both very good. I like Edward Norton in Red Dragon a lot, and Ralph Fiennes plays the serial killer in that.
Yes.
But I think Manhunter's just a better interpretation of that novel.
He has so much style to it. Manhunter is super stylish.
Sexy.
Then we get Grissom.
Sexy, man.
Grissom with
the original CSI.
Yeah, oh my God. So hot right now.
So tan in that movie.
Yeah, so tan.
Everyone in the 80s was overly tan, and I loved it. I'm here for it, man. I miss it.
What's the actor's name? I can never remember his name.
Can't-
William something.
Just Grissom.
Grissom.
Grissom from CSI. And obviously Silence of the Lambs is one of the best movies in the history of global cinema.
History.
IMO.
It's in the books, man.
Let's move on to the next on our list. The original of this category was Seven Samurai from Akira Kurosawa, which came out in 1954. There have been basically 4 remakes and loose remakes. Now, The Magnificent Seven came out in 1960. It was an American version done as a Western with gunslingers instead of samurais. And then in 1980, Battle Beyond the Stars was an outer space cowboy with other outer space cowboys, sort of the same kind of thing. Not a great movie. I looked this up.
Yeah, it's about space cowboys who recruit other space cowboys to fight like some evil forces.
True.
I can't believe it was a Roger Corman production, and it looked like the actual version of the Argo movie.
1983, we had Seven Magnificent Gladiators. Obviously, gladiators instead of samurai. It's the ancient Rome. Not a great movie either. But then recently, in 2017, we had the American remake of Seven Samurai, Magnificent Seven from Antoine Fuqua. And this movie was pretty solid, same kind of thing. And Seven Samurai in general, these are probably the 4 most popular versions of the movie, or 3 most popular remakes of the movie.
Yeah.
There are several heavily influenced or like clear remakes or reboots kind of Seven Samurai. So even though we only have 4 right here total, there are quite a few more.
Quite a few.
But these are the most popular theatrical releases of it.
Now let's get into some classic literature, because, I'm not sure if you know this, but James knows how to read.
I have read books before.
He's read books.
Y'all know.
He's read Dune.
I've only read Dune. Only Dune. Ever since I was a baby.
So the first one on the list is actually...
I didn't even bring up Dune this time. You did. See, you always say I bring
you were gonna.
I was not
gonna. You were going to bring it up.
I was gonna. Why would I bring
that you read Dune?
You're the one that always makes fun of me that James knows how to read. Why would I bring it up right now?
Because you were gonna say I've read Dune.
But I didn't bring up reading.
You were going to.
You brought up reading, then you brought up Dune. So the whole thing was all you. See, sometimes you got to look in the mirror, Anthony.
What exactly are we talking about here?
Because you say I always bring up Dune in episodes.
Yes.
Look in the mirror, bro. Sometimes it's you. More than often than not, it's you.
I got there before you did, man.
I was not going to bring up Dune at all.
You were going there.
In my head, I'm like, he's going to bring up Dune at some point.
You were going to say
I refuse to. I refuse to bring up Dune. You brought it up.
We have a new James over here. He does not bring up Dune.
I'm not saying I'm not going to ever bring it up again.
Isn't it satisfying to know that everybody's freaking out about Dune right now, and we've been on it for fucking 3 years?
For years! I'm like, where have y'all been? Where was this hype?
Where was this on Twitter?
Part 1 hype. Where was this hype for Part 1?
Didn't exist.
It didn't really exist. Not at this level. Day one Dune hardcore.
We made
fans.
like 4 whole episodes on Dune before this one.
Everyone's like, it's kind of funny. We've been hyping it up.
We have been hyping it up, and nobody's ever. Oh my god,
nobody gave a fuck.
I didn't see any of this on social media when Dune came out. Nothing.
Me neither. But hey, man,
where were you?
We've always been there. Let's talk.
Where was Gondor?
Where was film Twitter? Besides talking about cinematography, where was film Twitter? Besides talking about Greg Fraser for Dune.
Oh my god! All right, let's get back into the list. So
so I know how to read. Like, get into your.
The first of our classic literature adaptations is The Great Gatsby, which actually hasn't been adapted that many times. Most recently, Baz Luhrmann adapted it, and then before that, Robert Redford actually starred as Gatsby in the 70s adaptation with Mia Farrow. The Great Gatsby has been adapted 5 times all over the years. Pretty low number. It's not even close to the other literature that we have.
These are
rookie numbers.
They need to pump these numbers up.
Bump these numbers
we need
up.
another Great Gatsby ASAP.
Great Gatsby Origins.
We need to kick
Where
these
did he
up.
get his wealth?
Yeah. Well, did you watch the movie? Anyways, moving on to Annie.
I know, but like a movie about it.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the movie. I read the book.
He read.
I read it in a book.
He knows how to read too, everybody. Let's move on to another adaptation with 5 films. We have Annie. I believe it's getting made again soon, isn't it? I think it got announced earlier in the year that they're rebooting it.
Sounds like something they would do.
It sounds like something they would do. Now, originally, Annie came out in 1932. It was called Little Orphan Annie. Then 1938,
terrible title.
Little Orphan Annie again. 1982, just Annie.
Drop the Little Orphan. It's cleaner.
I kind of like Little Orphan Annie.
Little Orphan Annie sounds awful.
That's a good name. It sounds enticing.
Just Annie, man. Just Annie.
No, then Annie's like, who is Annie? Why should I care?
You'll find out when you watch the movie.
Then Little Orphan Annie, I'm sold on that. I want to learn about this little orphan. Then we have in.
Do you want it to be called Sandy Played at Dune? Is that better?
No. It's a terrible name. That's a terrible title.
That's what I'm getting at.
Sandy Planet Dune.
Yeah, it's the same thing as Little Orphan Annie. It's the same thing.
It's not the same thing at all.
Adjective, noun, Annie in name. Exactly the same thing. Sandy Planet Dune.
Life After Tomorrow in 2006, and then Annie all the way in 2014. And I believe, again, they are rebooting. Let me double check.
Yeah, double check that.
Because I'm pretty sure I heard that last year. Might have done it on a movie news episode.
I think I heard that, man.
You are just being such a jerk right now, man. You know that? For a second.
Well, I'm just shocked at how like interested you are in this Annie remake.
It's getting remade.
Okay, thanks, man.
It is getting remade.
Apparently, you're going to be the first one in line for it.
Yep.
Is it going to be called Little Orphan Annie? Yeah.
It's going to be called Exceptionally Little Orphan Annie.
Miniature Orphan Annie.
It's going to be called Poor Little Orphan Annie. Hungry Annie. It's terrible. It's terrible. I'm getting canceled for that.
All right, next up, we have The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah, baby.
The story is most famous for the Disney adaptation, but it's actually been getting made into film since the silent era. First one came out all the way back in 1923, and since then, 5 other adaptations of the story have been made for feature films. The original is actually really impressive, huge sets and an incredible production for a silent film. Definitely check it out. Very interesting.
They used to build sets.
Yeah, people found that out in Dune 2.
The good old days.
Oh, this is what happens when like they actually build sets.
Yeah, it looked incredible. It looked really incredible. Next up, we have another franchise or IP or book that's been made into 6 films. Little Woman.
Little ones.
Little tiny woman. Fit in the palm of your hand. Little Woman.
It's just called Little Woman.
Little teeny tiny woman.
Sorry.
Most recently, it was made by Greta Gerwig in 2019. However, it was originally made in 1917, then 1918, then 1933, 1949, and 1994.
I like how in 1918 they're like, fuck it, we're doing another one right away.
Let's go.
Right after 1917. We can do better.
And I heard Greta's making a sequel called Littler Women.
Little tiny woman. Mini one.
So it's surprising to find out that there have been 6 versions of the film Little Women.
So surprising, man.
Your sarcasm is just, you just have, what is up with you today?
Because I got the coffee, man.
Oh, yeah, you got some
good
coffee. Did you miss me?
I'm back in the sun, man. I'm back in LA.
He got a little vitamin D.
Yeah.
He's excited. Look
I feel
at him.
like feel
got
good.
a little color in your cheeks.
Feeling good.
You were in England for too long, man. The UK.
I was in the clouds.
Yeah, the clouds in the rain.
Now I understand why people freak out when they come to LA.
It's just always sunny. It is a beautiful day today, but still, it doesn't explain your sarcastic asshole attitude.
Just having a good time messing with you, man. I missed you. Okay, I get 10 days of grilling in. Well, actually, it's only 4 days, but it's got to get it in one episode.
There we go.
All right, next up, we have our first comic book adaptations with Superman. The famed DC comic character has been adapted into 7 feature films, as well as a bunch of other animated films. And he's also co-starred in who knows how many fucking movies.
I mean, yeah, if you count all the Justice League movies, especially the animated versions, there's quite a few, but this is just the live-action versions of Superman. And let's pull up the list of all of the Superman movies.
Superman 1 through 4, then Man of Steel, and then Batman vs. Superman, Justice League, and something else.
Superman
Returns.
Yeah, Superman Returns.
Yeah.
And then obviously we know in 2025 we're going to get Superman Legacy.
And in Superman 4, he becomes an alcoholic. He does. There's a scene of him.
The quest of, what's it called? Quest for Peace.
Quest for Peace. He becomes depressed and he starts drinking at bars. And it takes him a while to get drunk.
It's pretty amazing. Let's move on to another comic book hero. We have Spider-Man. Surprisingly, there are only 10 Spider-Man movies. Doesn't it feel like there's so many more?
It's because it's all been in this century.
Yeah, so all theatrical features. So, of course, we have the original Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi trilogy. Then we have the 2 Amazing Spider-Man movies. And then we have the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies for Marvel MCU. And then we have the animated Across and Into the Spider-Verse films. Spider-Man is easily, I think, right now, the most popular superhero on the planet.
I would argue that Spider-Man is the most popular fictional character in the world right now.
Probably,
in total.
Yeah, I guess
the hashtags across every platform for Spider-Man put everyone else's numbers to shame. Spider-Man is the most popular character in fiction at the moment.
Which is crazy because Star Wars should have the most popular character, but they don't because Spider-Man's just killing it.
Who for Star Wars do you think should be number 1?
I mean, I think if they... No, they should because it's Star Wars, and I feel like they've kind of dropped the ball in the last like 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
In terms of not really having a movie for a while, but like it's Star Wars. It's the biggest IP probably when it comes to entertainment.
Yeah.
And I would say for the trilogy, obviously Rey's the lead, and Kylo Ren's really popular as well. But those two characters, they're not even close to the popularity of
nothing.
even Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But then Spider-Man is just leagues above them, you know?
Spider-Man is the Sherlock Holmes of this century. It's just by far the most popular character there is. It's not even close. It's not even close. No one is. Not even Batman's close to Spider-Man.
I don't think so either.
Not even close. Look at the hashtags.
He'd probably be second.
Batman might be second. Might be.
But still, he's pretty far off from Spider-Man. Spider-Man is just absurdly popular with kids, adults everywhere around the world.
Exactly.
And I mean, deservedly so. He's an awesome character. He really is.
Spider-Man's super cool, bro.
He's really awesome.
He's a cool dude.
He's a cool dude.
Next up, we have our first horror film franchise in Halloween. Michael Myers and his stories and his adventures.
Michael Myers and his stories and his adventures. That sounds like a kid's book about like the serial killer Michael Myers.
So I would buy that.
That sounds. We should write that.
That'd be cute. He's been adapted into 11 feature films over the years. Although it seems like more.
Let's list them off.
Seems like more.
So the 11 Halloween films include Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, Halloween number 6, Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers,
H2O.
Number 7, Halloween, Michael Myers gets an STD. Number 8.
Is that real?
No, I just made that up. They're just getting ridiculous. Halloween H2O 20 years later.
Water.
And then we have Halloween Resurrection, Halloween in 2007, Halloween 2,
Evil Dies Tonight.
Halloween.
Oh no, this is now it's
Halloween in 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. I'm sorry, that's 13.
Yeah, that's way more. Nice job with that number, man. Where'd you learn how to count? Did you just say, there's probably 11. All right, 11. Fact check false. You fact checked yourself. That's funny.
I grabbed an IMDb list, and the list clearly forgot to add ends and kills. Maybe because the list.
So let me double check this. So you didn't do the research properly, did you?
You
didn't double check anything.
You're acting like this is a big deal. It's just Halloween, first of all. I corrected the mistake.
Now I don't trust anything you put on this list.
I corrected the mistake.
I put movies on this list, and I made sure I double checked.
Did you?
With multiple sources.
Good for you.
Whether my numbers were right.
The first time you've ever double-checked something.
Well, it looks like it's the first time for everything, man.
I fixed it immediately. See, I didn't have a TikTok commenter fix me. I fixed me myself, Anthony. That's the difference between us. I understand when I'm wrong about something.
I just don't trust anything you have on this list now.
I just don't trust you in general.
I hope this is right, because you wrote this one. Next up, we have Nightmare on Elm Street, with a total of 11 adaptations of Freddy Krueger and his adventures.
His adventures. I love you. Keep making it sound like kid stories, like you get at the book fair.
Little Freddy.
You remember like going to the book fair and it was so much fun. And you walk in, you have like $7 cash, and something about book fairs, even though it's mediocre as hell. You like leave with a pencil or something. You want all the books, but you just can't afford them all. But
you get an eraser and a pencil.
Yeah.
Or maybe like a pencil case.
Yeah, remember those pouches that had like the mesh on the outside?
Oh yeah, the pouches were fucking baller, man.
I miss using pencils with the little handheld pencil sharpener. Yeah,
you
just twist inside of it.
Yeah,
man, I miss being a kid. But like something about book fairs, I don't know why this popped in my head. Just because you keep saying like books that you keep making titles that sound like kids' books or like
The Adventures of Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
On Elm Street.
Yeah. It seems like something you'd get at a book fair.
They should make like a kid's version of Freddy Krueger.
They should, but does he full on kill people or what's he do?
Yeah, he's Krueger.
Well, he can't kill people. It's a kid's book.
It's an adult kid's book.
You just said no. What? An adult kid's book?
Yeah.
So a young adult book.
No. It's an adult book, but it's made in the style of a kid's book. So it's an adult kid's book.
But who wants to read? What adult wants to read that?
Dude, adults play with Legos all the time now.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just
all I'm saying is I would buy a Freddy Krueger kid's book where he kills people as a kid.
But written in this like the grammar of a kid, like a 6-year-old book reading book.
Yeah, and illustrated like it too.
Why would you read that?
I don't think it'd be funny.
It's like 7
The
people.
Adventures of Freddy Krueger.
7 people would buy that.
I think a lot of people would
I think you just want to admit that you have a tough time reading. You're not.
I can't read.
You're not great at
I can't read good. Anyways, I hope there's 11 movies.
Let's get back into the Nightmare on Elm Street list. What are the movies? Do you have the list? I'll pull the list.
No, I got the list.
Are you sure you got it?
I can pull up the list myself.
Can you? Are you sure?
Yeah. Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. 3, Dream Warriors. Number 4, Dream Master. 5, Freddy's Nightmares, which is a TV movie. 6, The Dream Child. 7, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, or so you think. 3 years later, he came out with New Nightmare. Then Freddy vs. Jason, which slapped as kids. Man, that was the 20. Yeah, we were kids. 13 years old when that came out.
What, Freddy vs. Jason?
Yeah, that was a fun one.
That was pretty cool.
That was fun. Real Nightmares, and then the failed remake in 2010, A Nightmare on Elm Street. And since then, he hasn't been touched.
It's been a while. You're right. I'm surprised they haven't tried to make this again.
I think because they fucked up so badly, they were like, yeah, let's leave it alone for a little bit.
Yeah, and I guess
it wasn't good.
I guess Freddy just also isn't as popular in terms of a massive fan base compared to Mike Myers.
Yeah, it never
obviously.
has been. Yeah.
It's always been more of a cult favorite for horror people. All horror people love Freddy Krueger in Nightmare on Elm Street, but in terms of general,
the box office is never there.
Yeah, general audiences, maybe they don't like Freddy as much. I mean, he's pretty
gross looking.
He's pretty gruesome. It's pretty scary.
Yeah, I mean, those movies, they never made as much as the Halloween movies did.
Yeah.
Never.
Something about Mike Myers that I think just people really are drawn to.
He's easier on the eyes.
Easier on the eyes.
Yeah.
That's one way to put it. Have you ever seen the Key and Peele sketch where...
I've seen them all.
Where Key is on stage doing stand-up. He's like a stand-up comedian.
The burn victim?
And then Peele, he's one of the audience members. Now, he's stand-up comedian. He's roasting everybody in the audience. He goes one person, one at a time. He's doing everybody, and he's killing it.
He's an insult comic.
Yeah, and then he goes to Peele. He sees Peele's character at a table, and he's a burn victim with... like a bunch of disabilities.
The voice box.
And so he's like afraid to go after him. He's terrified to go after him. And then he's begging. He's like, go after me. Go after me. Come on, bring it on. He's like,
I can take it.
He's like, makes fun of his drink. And then says, this is my medication. He's like, God damn it. He's like, make fun of the burns. Go after the burns. It's really goddamn funny. And then he does, and everyone calls him like super insensitive.
Yeah.
It's a great sketch.
It's really funny.
Yeah, they're really funny.
Man, I love it.
All right, moving on to another horror icon. In other horror franchise, we have Friday the 13th, which has been made into 13 movies, actually.
Ironically,
so we have the original Friday the 13th, which came out in 1980. Then Friday the 13th, Part 2. Part 3. Friday the 13th, the final chapter, which was not the final chapter, because then after that, we got Friday the 13th, A New Beginning. And then we got Part 6, Jason Lives. Then we got Friday the 13th, The New Blood. Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Such a terrible name. I like how they're just committed to the number of movies there are. Then we have Jason Goes to Hell, which came out in 1993. Jason X in 2002. Freddy vs. Jason in 2003. Friday the 13th in 2009. Was that a hardcore reboot?
Friday the 13th?
Yeah. Was that just like a straight reboot?
Exactly, yeah.
It just... oh, yeah, you're right. It was a reboot. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And how did it perform?
They tried to make a new franchise out of it. It didn't do well.
Let me see the box office on that. Because I don't even remember that movie coming out.
We saw it.
Did we?
Yeah.
It made $90 million on a $20 million budget. Holy crap. Yeah, so that was the last really version of the franchise that's been made. Interesting.
That made $40 million opening weekend.
Holy crap.
Oof. What a hit.
Crap.
All right, let's get out of the horror genre. And
yeah,
we'll
I'm kind of scared, bro. It's getting a little spooky in here.
It's spooky in here. Let's get into one of the biggest spectacles in cinema history and its remakes, and that is King Kong.
I thought you were going to say Sharknado.
We're getting there. King Kong. The silent film was a groundbreaking event in the history of pictures and has been adapted 12 more times. There are 13 total King Kong films. I really like the Peter Jackson one that came out in 2006 with Naomi Watts and Jack Black, Adrian Brody. That was a fun movie. But it's impressive. 13 movies. What's really cool is they made one in 1976, and they shot a scene at the World Trade Center where King Kong climbed that building in that film, and 30,000 people showed up to be extras in the scene.
That's crazy.
And the Port Authority were worried that the entire structure's base and floor would collapse from all the people standing on it. Ultimately, it did not, obviously, but 30,000 people showed up for free to be extras. Isn't that crazy?
That's nuts.
Yeah. King Kong has always been one of the biggest characters in, I guess I would say it's science fiction in a way. And again, we're getting another King Kong adaptation this year.
Would you say it's science fiction?
Giant monkey, yeah.
It's more of a monster movie.
I guess, monster movies are science fiction.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a very ambiguous umbrella term for science fiction then.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
because monsters a lot of times are naturally occurring monsters.
this isn't a naturally occurring monster, though.
I mean, in the world it is, in this movie, in this franchise. It's not like he's bioengineered by scientists. He's just a giant monkey.
Yeah, okay. I'll go. Okay,
it's like if there's a movie about a giant giraffe. It's not just a giant giraffe, man. It's not a
It's
sci-fi
a giraffe movie, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a giraffe movie.
All right, you got me. Yeah, it's not science fiction.
We got him, boys.
Film boys unite.
Film boys.
Film girls unite. Take down Anthony.
Our new terms, film boys and film girls. You heard it here first, baby. Let's move into another piece of classic literature turned into a bunch of goddamn movies. We have Pinocchio has at least 15 film adaptations, 15 major releases theatrically for the character. Now, the original book and story was called The Adventures of Pinocchio, which was written and released in 1882 in a magazine in Italy. And then in February 1883, it was released as a novel finally, written by Carlo Collodi, illustrated by Enrico Mazzanti, and then we've had over 15 films. Most recently, we had Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, which was terrific.
And we grew up on the hand-drawn animated classic.
Absolutely.
Which was always one of my favorite movies as a kid.
What year did that one come out? Let me check.
That's got to be the 60s.
Was it the 60s? Was it that long ago?
I think so, yeah.
1940 was one of the originals. No, 1940 was the original.
1940. Okay, yeah, 1940. Yeah.
And then Pinocchio in 2019 was Disney's that bombed.
Yes.
Adventures of Buratino is a different name.
Well, Disney made the 1941.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the live action one.
Oh, the live action.
Oh, no, that was the same year as Guillermo's, wasn't it? The Tom Hanks one and Guillermo's.
Oh, the Tom Hanks one?
Yeah.
I don't think it was Disney.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. There was also an Italian.
That's why it was bad.
There's also a live action Italian one that came out the year before that one.
Gotcha.
There's been a lot recently, the last 4 or 5 years.
And then Lionsgate made that terrible animated one called Pinocchio: A True Story in 2022. It's known as like one of the worst animated movies ever.
What's his name voicing Pinocchio? The guy from what's his fucking name from Biodome?
Oh, Pauly Shore.
Pauly Shore, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Russian movie, but it's dubbed. The English dub has Pauly Shore.
So the 1940 film, adjusted for inflation, it had a $2 million budget and then grossed $164 million.
Wow.
Not adjusted for inflation. I'm sorry. So that grossed that's $1 billion maybe.
It's been made in all kinds of countries. It's been made in the Czech Republic, but so
it was Disney's second big hit after the Snow White and Seven Dwarfs. So Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, and then Pinocchio, and then Disney was like, "Fuck yeah, we're crushing it."
We are crushing it, and yes, to confirm, Disney's Pinocchio, starring Tom Hanks, came out in 2022, the same year as Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, and obviously we know which one was the superior Pinocchio film.
Amazon versus Netflix. All right, next up.
No, it's Disney.
No, but Amazon released it. Oh, no, it's Disney Plus.
It's Disney.
Oh, I thought it was on Amazon. I don't know. Oh, the Italian one was on Amazon. That's what it was.
There you go.
Got it. We're figuring it out.
I mean, I only said it very clearly that it was
Anyways,
Disney's
moving
movie
on.
7 times.
Moving on. We have another classic novel from Leo Tolstoy, Anna Karenina. This story has been adapted into film 15 times, most recently by Joe Wright, starring Keira Knightley, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and a bunch of other great actors. Really good movie. I love that movie.
Oh, me too. It's a really terrific
Jude
production.
Law, yeah, fantastic. This is a great Russian forbidden love story of not just forbidden love, but impossible love.
It's a hot movie.
Yeah.
It's a hot cast.
That's a hot cast, man.
Very hot.
Super hot. Even Jude Law, they tried to make him ugly, but
it's tough to do,
still
man.
hot.
It's really tough. You can hide his face behind a mustache all you want, but it's still Jude Law at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And glasses, but you can't stop that, man, from being attractive as hell.
It's a great novel, too.
Let's move on next to another great character from literature. We have Peter Pan, who originally appeared in 1902 in the book The Little White Bird, written by J.M. Barrie, and then obviously became a very popular character in literature and film, with over 17 films theatrically released. Most popular ones, obviously, we have Hook, the Steven Spielberg film from 1991 starring Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman. The animated classic, which came out in I don't want to say which one was the classic. Was it 1953? Was one that we all grew up watching. 1953's Peter Pan is probably the most popular version of the story when it comes to cinema. Finding Neverland's another great version of that in terms of
origins.
The origins of Peter Pan. As well as a lot of different animated versions. There's some spin-offs, like Tinkerbell's a spin-off, then Secret Wings are a spin-off, as well as recent adaptations. We have Pan from 2015,
which was panned.
Yeah, which was panned. Hugh Jackman was Blackbeard in that one, right?
Correct.
And then very recently, we had Peter Pan and Wendy for Disney Plus, which got terrible ratings and reviews. And I don't think people really enjoyed that one at all.
Peter and Wendy, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
You said Peter Pan and Wendy. Okay, yeah, Peter Pan and Wendy.
Yeah, Peter Pan and Wendy.
Oh my, 4.4 on IMDb.
Yeah, it was not a very
holy shit
movie.
4. It's 11% on Rotten Tomatoes for the audience score.
It's pretty bad.
Oh my god,
pretty bad. I watched a couple clips.
Oh yeah, I remember watching a couple clips, and I was like, there's a clip where she slapped him in the face. I was like, oh, what's this?
It's pretty common nowadays.
Jude Law making another appearance this time as Blackbeard.
Yeah.
Or not Blackbeard, but someone else. Captain Hook, sorry. Captain Hook. He's a great choice for Captain Hook. Too bad the movie wasn't good.
Did I say Blackbeard for Hugh Jackman?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe.
He's Blackbeard.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not the full origin story.
Yeah,
Garrett Hedlund's character was set up to become Captain Hook.
Copy.
Because he lost his hand because of Peter. And at the end of that movie, he was like, it's Peter's fault! Basically.
Sounds like Doc Ock.
Yeah, so they were setting it up for the Captain Hook villain. It was the Captain Hook origin story, basically. I'm serious. Joe Wright again. Back-to-back Joe Wright. All right, next up we have yet another famous character in literature, Robin Hood, who has appeared in films 18 times. Great character, some great movies. I think my favorite was always, I like the Kevin Costner one, and then Robin Hood Men in Tights is a lot of fun for Mel Brooks. Ridley Scott's was kind of a misfire. And then Taron Egerton played Robin Hood in like a new, cool, hip
parkour Robin Hood,
where they're cool. It's I don't know.
It's so interesting how movies change, and you can just pick a character that's been adapted into different movies in different time periods and decades. You could see how different they've become.
Yeah,
and I think Kevin Costner's Robin Hood is probably still the best one.
Yeah, I like the Kevin Costner one,
Prince of Thieves.
I always liked that one. And then Men in Tights, it capitalized on the whole Princess Bride tone.
Yeah,
Princess
Bride.
They duplicated that tone.
Yeah,
especially with Kevin Ellis as Robin Hood. It's Mel Brooks, so great comedic version. There's been a bunch of TV adaptations of Robin Hood, and he's just a super popular character. I'm not sure that he's cool with the kids anymore, the Robin Hood character. I'm not sure it's hip anymore, but it definitely was in the 20th century. The kids aren't dressing up as Action Jackson anymore.
I still think Robin Hood's cool. That's the sad thing. Robin Hood is cool.
Why don't you make a Robin Hood movie, man?
Maybe I will.
Maybe you will.
Maybe I will. Let's get into another classic piece of literature that's been adapted several times into feature-length films. We have Alice in Wonderland. The original story, Alice in Wonderland, came out all the way back in what year? Let's see what year this book came out.
47?
Publication date. Sorry, Anthony didn't write this down. I don't know why he didn't. Just kidding. November 1865.
I was way off.
When Alice took a tumble down that rabbit hole and fell for ages and landed, finally softly, I guess, and started discovering things like that little tiny door and going through it and everything.
Great synopsis.
Thanks, bro. That's the opening of the book. It's pretty accurate. She falls for like ever.
Oh, yeah.
She falls for a long time.
Yeah.
And then it's been adapted so many times. Obviously, the animated classic is everyone's favorite version. I think the best version of Alice in Wonderland. It seems to be the MO for a lot of these classic pieces of literature. Disney was killing it with their animated films. However, in 2010, Tim Burton made his version of Alice in Wonderland, which was insanely successful. It was $1 billion gross at the box office, starring Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter, Mia Wasikowska as Alice, and then Helena Bonham Carter as the Red Queen. Visually stunning film. flawed, but still it's Tim Burton. And I respect that guy so much. He's such a great filmmaker. So I actually enjoy his version of Alice in Wonderland. I think it's pretty cool.
That's a movie where the CGI doesn't bother me because you're in a different world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It looks pretty good. Yeah.
Let me see what year the original came out. Alice in Wonderland, 1951.
Wow.
1951.
Wow.
Walt Disney, man.
Wow.
What a huge movie.
Huge.
Huge, kid.
All right, next up we have Treasure Island, which has been made into 20 movies. The best of all, of course, is Muppets Treasure Island. Muppets movies crush every time. This is a famous novel from Scottish writer, what's his name? Robert Louis Stevenson. Steve.
It wasn't even Steve. It was Stevenson.
Steve. It's a pirate book, and I always like the Muppets Treasure Island. This is a good one. I haven't seen the others, so yeah, but it's been made 20 times.
The other Treasure Island movies?
Yeah.
Neither have I.
Never seen them.
Neither have I. Let's do one more, and then we'll get to our intermission and come back and talk about the even more movies that have been made over and over again in the history of cinema. Now we have The Count of Monte Cristo.
Nice, a good one.
This story was originally written all the way back. Can you guess what year? In the 19th century.
It's 1836.
Pretty close. 1844.
Yeah.
The original publication of The Count of Monte Cristo coming out of France. It's been adapted how many times? 21 times this book has been made into a film. And the most popular one is probably 2002's The Count of Monte Cristo, starring Guy Pearce and Jim Caviezel. And Henry Cavill actually is in that movie. He's a very early actor in that. But also the version starring Robert Donnet and Alyssa Landy. That one, what year did that come out? 1934, is the classic version of The Count of Monte Cristo. And that's the one that I believe, that's the one that's playing in V for Vendetta, correct?
Yes.
He's watching that version, the 1934 version of the film.
I like The Count of Monte Cristo, the 2002 one, the 2004 one. No, 2002. Richard Harris is also in it. That book is it's a really dense book, and that book is more about, like, he spends like 9% of that novel like weaving his way into the social hierarchies of the community, and it's kind of hard to follow. I read it a few years ago, and it's like really dense, and there's a lot going on. They really simplified it for the 2002 film, and it was just like they turned it into an action romance, which I think works better for the film, because the book is very, very slow in a good way. And it works so well that for Zorro, The Mask of Zorro with Antonio Banderas, it basically was The Count of Monte Cristo
Kinda.
in a lot of ways. And so I think that the 2002 film is a really great adaptation, even though it's not super accurate. They Hollywoodized it in a good way.
Good point.
Thanks, man.
All right, how about we head on into our intermission, Anthony, and we'll come
it.
back and talk about the even more adaptations of other IPs and franchises and stories and books and characters. But before we continue, the best way to support Raiders of the Lost Podcast is to become a patron at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast, because why? You get awesome perks like access to the ad-free version of every single episode of the show, plus perks like video messages, access to our Discord where we have watch parties. You get to chat with us and send memes and gifs. We have a good time.
They're GIFs.
GIFs. Not to mention free merchandise, as well as many, many other perks. Another great way to support the show is just to leave those 5-star ratings and reviews on Spotify and Apple. At 5,000 Apple ratings, I will be getting a tattoo of whatever Anthony has on my body. So leave those ratings at 5,000.
I get to pick where on your body.
We'll talk about that if it ever happens. But also, we love to read the written reviews, which I'll get to in just a minute. And also, another great way to support the show and the best way to help a podcast grow is word of mouth. Just share us with your family, friends, other people who love movies, on your Instagram, Twitter, wherever. We repost everything, so please feel free to share us.
Share the load.
Says it every time.
This episode, of course, is sponsored by our friends at movieposters.com, the #1 place to get your posters online today. Be sure to use our promo code Raiders10 at movieposters.com to get 10% off your order right now. If you like any of these movies we're talking about, as well as new movies like Dune Part 2, get your posters at movieposters.com. Huge library, pretty much every film and TV show imaginable in their poster artillery. all sorts of sizes, framing, and even backlighting for your poster needs. We have these all over our set, as well as all over our home. High quality, super affordable prices. So make sure you go to movieposters.com for all of your poster needs and use the promo code Raiders10 right now to get 10% off your order immediately.
Nice.
Yeah.
Coming in with that energy over there.
Coming in hot.
All right, let's get to our intermission, Anthony, and begin with the movie quote competition. Are you ready, sir?
Yes.
So I'm going to give you a little hint. Just guess what James Bond film this is from.
Give it to me.
Would you like to check my figures? Oh, I'm sure they're perfectly rounded.
Casino.
Nope.
Oh, GoldenEye.
Nope.
It's Brosnan, isn't it?
It is.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
No.
Fuck. Pierce Brosnan. What are the other ones called? The World Is Never Enough.
The world is not enough.
The World Is Not Enough.
You got it.
Thanks. That was a good one. All right. Here's my quote. If it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village to abuse one.
That's a good quote. What fucking movie is that? Say it one more time.
Great quote. If it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village to abuse one. I can give you a hint. It's a Best Picture winner.
Damn. Man, I feel like I know this.
I can give you another hint. It's based in Boston.
Spotlight.
Spotlight.
Spotlight Kid.
Fucking Boston Globe guy.
Oh my god. All right, guess this movie release year. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
2010.
2011. 2011, man.
Man, you got me. What year did Tokyo Story come out?
I have no idea.
53.
1953. Holy crap.
No, it was 1653.
I would have been like 30 years off. Movie pop quiz time, Anthony. Are you ready?
Ready.
Who directed the Austin Powers and the Meet the Parents films?
Good question. Good question. I don't know.
They were directed by Jay Roach.
Jay Roach.
Jay Roach.
Comedy director.
He's done a bunch.
Yeah, his name sounds super familiar.
He also did things like Dinner for Schmucks, The Campaign, a bunch of movies.
Big time comedy director.
Yeah.
Good comedies, too.
They are really
good picture.
I mean,
good picture.
Meet the Parents is a banger. I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me? All right, Anthony.
Geppetto.
Geppetto. Little Geppetto. In a saucer.
How many Oscar nominations does Mark Ruffalo have? And has he won any?
He just recently got one for Poor Things. So he's got one, at least one.
Yeah, can you name the movies too?
So Poor Things, he's been nominated. What else would he have been nominated for? Mark Ruffalo. Spotlight.
Yes.
He's nominated. Spotlight's got a hold of the story, kid. He's also been nominated for... That's it.
Foxcatcher.
Oh my god, that's right.
And The Kids Are All Right.
Kids Are
with
okay.
Julianne Moore.
Wow, he's got 4 Oscar noms. Wow.
4 Oscar noms.
He's a great actor.
Yeah.
Really great actor.
I saw someone comment last week. They're like, finally, Mark Ruffalo can actually be in good movies outside of Marvel. And I was just like,
he always has been.
He's always been in good movies. What are you guys talking about?
One of the main
Try watching other movies.
He's a Best Picture winner.
All you have to do is search Mark Ruffalo movies. Bam. Bam.
Movies exist outside the MCU, y'all. They exist. All right, Anthony.
James.
Besides that person, do you have any haters to bring up?
We got a ton because we were gone for a while.
Don't blow them all.
No?
Save some of them.
All right, I'll save some.
Yeah, we might record tomorrow or something,
Oh, yeah. I
You're
won't blow my load
always
right now.
emptying the magazine.
It's just good, so excited.
I know you do.
All right, first up, we have Chad27. Manuel wrote, no episodes until Monday. Now I'm going to unsubscribe. Have a great time at the wedding, though.
Thanks, pal.
Eddie wrote, you're having fun and it's not about podcasting? Unsubscribed. Coleslaw wrote, I haven't had new content since Wednesday. I'll need y'all to hurry up and get back because if I have to wait another day, I just might unsubscribe. Elio wrote, no movie news podcast, unsubscribed. Anthony Kern.
Yeah, I was bummed about no movie news too.
It's weird without not recording one. Because even
always a banger.
Even when you or I are gone, the other records something.
Yeah.
We were just both gone. Anthony Kern wrote, I'm having a spice-fueled vision of the future. I see special edition director's supercut 4K Blu-ray of Dune Parts 1 and 2. I also foresee myself buying these. If you do not believe me, I'll show unsubscribe. He said he got a hold of that spice.
The melange, kid.
I had a real hater comment on your fantastic infrared camera clip you made for the Harkonnen gladiator scene. Thanks, for man. Dune Part 2. Colin, some guy on TikTok, wrote, Black Sun isn't a thing. And I replied, Dune isn't real.
It's not real. It's called the Black Sun, and the movie literally calls it the Black Sun. The guy says Getty Prime's Black Sun. They and then literally say it in the movie.
And to bounce off that, Sam Owens right. Why would you destroy my belief in Black Suns? And then Adam Hobby wrote, Dune isn't real. Unsubscribed.
Film boys always coming to the rescue.
Film boys. And then our final one for today is Downey Art wrote, just wanted to tell you, fine young men, that I viewed the picture There Will Be Blood for the first time 2 nights ago. And I have not been able to stop talking and gesturing as the magnificent Daniel Plainview ever since. The wife's looking very concerned. Unsubscribed. I drink your milkshake. Honey, did you make me a milkshake? I will drink it.
You just made Anthony so happy.
Honey, do you want to get Uber Eats for dinner tonight?
This is what you do to your girlfriend, Anthony?
Well, now I can do, since she saw Dune 2, I can do the Fade Rother voice. Honey, what do you want for dinner, honey? Darling. What is your streaming recommendation this week, James?
We gotta get to a review.
Oh, review time!
Have a wonderful written review right here from H.A. Jenks 3. Like Apple, just consolidate. Anyways, I'm solely on this app to write a review of one of my all-time favorite podcasts. It's my #1 movie review and news podcast, and maybe like #3 all-time favorite podcast. Woo! But I won't get into that here. James and Anthony are great, and their banter reminds me of mine and my brothers, especially, wrote that in all caps, when we discuss movies and have our own opinions. I love listening to them to get all my movie news, and, wrote that in all caps, they always help me decide if I'm put in time and watch any movies they talk about. I'm grateful for them as well as because my life lately hasn't been great, but listening to them laugh through the podcast helps tremendously. I also might have other motives. A tattoo is needed. Thank you guys for being great. And I can't wait to delete this app off my phone again and listen to you all on Spotify. Wow. H.A. Jenks, first of all, thank you so much for going to Apple, even though you don't use it. Signing up with just your email. All you need is an email, and then leaving this incredible 5-star rating review. It's really beautiful. Thank you. I'm glad we're helping you get through. You know, we all have tough times, ups and downs. I'm happy that we're helping you through that.
I also agree. Spotify is way better than Apple
in a lot of ways. Yeah, it absolutely is. But Apple does have the written review feature, which is pretty terrific.
Spotify does not have written reviews.
So
does not.
Yeah. So if you're a Spotify listener or YouTube listener or watcher, all you have to do is sign up on Apple Podcasts with an iPhone, with an email address. You don't even need an iPhone.
You don't even need an iPhone.
You don't even need an iPhone, everybody.
You're acting like people don't have iPhones.
It's like 25% of the world population.
Okay, yeah.
They use Androids, bro.
Yeah.
They're not as
I guess
uncommon as you'd think.
Androids they do have a bit.
They don't
Android users are like, I'm never getting an iPhone.
It's probably like 60-40.
No way.
Yeah, it's probably 60-40.
Let me Google this.
Yeah, Google it.
What percentage? 60-40. I'm guessing it's 10 to 90.
No way.
2080.
Is that what it is?
I'm guessing.
No way. That's too much. Too much. What do you got?
It is 70-30. 70-30.
So I was pretty close.
Holy shit. Whoa. It's Android is 67%.
They have the most?
Android has the majority.
Whoa.
Android, as per the latest reports from StatCounter, Android has a worldwide hold of 70%, whereas iOS holds 30% of the global mobile operating system market.
Interesting. You know why? It's probably because Android phones can be a lot more affordable. And a lot of people, maybe they can't afford an iPhone.
I think in America, it's high majority iPhones.
I don't think so. I think it's probably like that then.
Because, I mean, think about how many people you know have the blue text as opposed to green text.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, get outside your bubble, dude.
So in America, no.
No.
Get outside my bubble?
Yeah, I'm just saying, get outside
I'm
your
right.
bubble.
60% to 40% iPhone to Android in America.
I bet you in China, the Androids are massive.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, iOS has dominance in America. Like I said, I'm not in a bubble.
You kind of are in a bubble.
How many people have green text that you talk to?
I don't talk to everybody.
How many people have green text that you talk to?
I know I have a couple very good friends that have Androids.
Okay, a couple.
Couple.
Thank you. My point. Your Honor.
Exhibit A!
Your Honor, my point. No further questions, Your Honor. He said a couple. I know you know more than a couple people.
All right. You got me, everybody. You got me. Hands up. You got me.
I love how, like, you just stubbornly just fight me. You know I'm right. You're like, I know some people.
I know a couple people with Androids. Let's move on to our streaming recommendations, Anthony.
What do you got?
Mississippi Grind on Amazon Prime. It's a really cool gambling movie.
It's super cool.
Ryan Reynolds and Ben Mendelsohn.
I got The Revenant on Max. I think I might watch it tonight. I'm in the mood for some Inarritu, and I haven't seen it in a while.
I haven't seen it in a while either.
Yeah.
Not since we did our episode on it.
I think I might watch it tonight.
2 years? That was like 2 years ago. Holy crap. Yeah. That was a long time ago.
Long fucking time.
Anthony's
how long you been undercover? Long fucking time.
Long fucking time. All right, Bill. Let's get you paid.
Let's get you paid, Bill.
All right, Departed, in case anyone doesn't realize it.
I think they get it by now. We say it almost every
Not
time.
everyone listens to every episode, though.
I gotta get out of my bubble.
No, like, exactly. Some people may not get the reference or understand that we're saying movie reference, so I'm letting them know it's The Departed.
Thanks, man.
How long were we going to cover? A long time.
Long time.
Long fucking time.
Yeah, yes.
I just want my identity back. All right, let's move back into our episode on the most made and remade movies of all time.
Da-da-da.
Next up, I'm going to open up our next IP and story and franchise of adaptations.
Go ahead, man.
A quote. You're an orphan, right? You think I know the first thing about how hard your life has been? How you feel? Who you are? Because I read Oliver Twist. Does that encapsulate you?
It's The Departed, if anyone.
Oh, man, that's good, man. That's good. You really are a funny guy. Obviously, I'm talking about Oliver Twist, the Dickens novel, which has been made into 26 movies.
Damn.
And I'm surprised it hasn't had an adaptation in quite a while.
Well, the thing with Oliver Twist, and as well as another book we'll talk about in a little bit, some of the adaptations are actually not straight adaptations of the novel, but movies based on it, on the novel.
So the last movie was 2005 from Roman Polanski.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a long fucking time.
You say it one more time. I'm going to throw my phone off your face.
Is it an Android or an iPhone?
Wait, do you think Oliver Twist would have an Android or an iPhone?
He would have a phone. He's a fucking orphan.
Just answer the question.
Oliver Twist, I would say he would have an Android because he's
Probably.
broke.
So,
You just said it's cheaper.
I didn't say it's cheaper. I said more Androids are affordable. I didn't call people who have Androids broke, you dick.
I didn't say people who have Androids are broke. I said Oliver Twist is broke.
You literally just insinuated that anyone who has an Android is broke.
No, I said Oliver Twist.
You heard
is
that,
broke.
everybody?
I said
Anthony,
Oliver Twist.
if you have an
is broke.
Android and you're listening right now, Anthony thinks you're broke.
You're putting words in my mouth. I said Oliver
I don't
Twist
have
is
to
broke.
put words in your mouth.
I said he's broke.
You
to this one person.
Expunged those words from your mouth yourself.
I said one person's broke, so they're more likely to have an Android because iPhones are insanely expensive. They're $800.
That's maybe 10 years ago. A cheapie. That's a cheapie iPhone. That's
Yeah.
after you trade.
So there's no way Oliver Twist would have an iPhone.
That's after you trade in your current iPhone and then like cut off a finger.
Thank you. Yeah.
Anyways, what were you saying?
I was just, done.
You're done?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last adaptation of Oliver Twist was 2005. I totally forgot this movie exists. Ben
too.
Kingsley stars in this movie as well.
He's
and
Oliver
Mark
Twist.
And Mark Strong. Yeah, he went from Gandhi to Oliver Twist in the same 5-year period. Oh, man. But I'm surprised that it hasn't been done again recently.
Yeah, orphans aren't hot right now. Unless it's Batman.
No, there's Wonka had an orphan in it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wonka's kind of
Yeah,
an
but it's- yeah.
orphan as well.
Yeah, Wonka's. I mean, he's an adult.
Yeah, but one of the main characters is an orphan.
Yeah, but it's not like an orphan movie.
She's a main character, and she's an orphan.
Yeah, but it's not Oliver Twist. It's not like this is the lead.
True. I'll tell you that. But yeah, 26 movies.
It's not like
based off-
Batman's an orphan movie.
They bring it up quite a lot.
He doesn't shut up about it. We get it, Bruce.
Your parents died. We get it.
We get it, man. Get on like BetterHelp or something. I don't know what to tell you.
The guy who does the Batman impression, the funny one's like, I'm
comedian?
Batman. I'm Batman.
Yeah.
My parents are dead. Like the one where him and Superman, like,
There's one
they just make fun of him for his parents. We get it. Your parents are dead. Yeah, so what?
There's a great Dark Knight Rises one where it's him, Talia, and Bane at the end of Dark Knight Rises. She reveals herself. He's like, yeah, but like we had sex.
We had sex. Wait, what?
Oh my god, that's a funny one. Yeah, but like we had sex. All right, moving on. Batman sex jokes all the way into Jane Eyre. What a great segue.
No, we skipped one.
You
You're right.
skipped it.
I'm
It's
sorry.
okay, man.
I said
It's
we.
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't skip shit. You skipped it.
Hey, when we make a mistake, it's a team effort, right?
No. Jane Eyre, the classic romance novel, very good novel, has been adapted 23 times into feature films in both the English language as well as, get this, other languages.
Thanks, Anthony.
The most recent adaptation starred Michael Fassbender and Mia Wasikowska. Very good movie. And then Andrea Arnold made... No, not Andrea Arnold. Carrie Joji Fukunaga made one. Like 10 years before that. I believe it was his first movie. Or is it Wuthering Heights? I think it was Wuthering Heights. It might have been Jane Eyre. No, it was Wuthering Heights. Anyways,
All right.
let's get into the next one.
The next one we have is Phantom of the Opera. The original book came out in 1910
Whoa.
from France, and a movie came out the same year, and there have been 26 versions of this movie. But again, another one that hasn't surprisingly been adapted very recently. The last movie, I believe, was 2004. Yeah,
With Gerard
2004 with Gerard Butler. You're right. And Emmy Rossum, Patrick Wilson, Minnie Driver. There's also a musical in 1984 that was done for it. But yeah, that was the last time this movie was made into...
That's something that's really fit for the stage.
Yeah.
It's still running all over the world on stage. It never stops. So it's definitely a stage story.
Yeah, I totally forgot about this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Who directed that?
The 2004 version?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like to know?
That's why I'm asking you, motherfucker.
Joel Shoemaker.
He's Schumacher.
Joel Shoemaker. He makes shoes.
You shine shoes?
Shoes?
You're
Butler?
a servant?
You're
a servant?
Process server?
All right, next up we have...
He's lingering.
Lingering.
He's getting snickle fritz.
Next up we have what is still one of the strongest IPs on this entire list, and that is James Bond, one of the longest running franchises in Hollywood, not in Hollywood, but in cinema, with 27 films. Tons of fucking movies. Lots of movies.
Oh, that's Hollywood, bro.
Yeah.
These are always Hollywood movies.
A handful of novels have been adapted multiple times, and then a couple of original stories have been adapted as well. I love James Bond movies. They're awesome. They're a good time. Always great.
Always terrific.
Even when they're bad, they're good.
True.
Even when they're bad, they're good.
Yeah, and I'm very excited to see who will be the next Bond, because that's something people forgot about.
Did you see rumors, people saying Cillian Murphy?
He's too old to be a Bond.
He's too old.
He's like 50.
Apparently, like, rumors are saying studios are interested in him, but I was like,
He wouldn't do an action movie.
They've always gone for lesser known actors.
But that's not who Cillian is as an actor. He's
Yeah.
not an action guy. He's never done action, really. I mean, a couple things, like I guess you could say very minimal action, like in Red Eye, or I guess in Batman Begins, sure. But he's not really an action actor.
No, definitely not.
He's too old.
He's too old, man.
He's fucking...
He'd be a great Bond villain.
Yeah, he would be a great Bond
He would
villain.
be a great Bond villain.
Absolutely would be. That's a good idea.
If I was making a Bond movie right now, I'd be like, Cillian, do you want to be my villain?
I don't think he would do a Bond movie, though. Not unless Chris Nolan made it.
I think he would do it if he was a villain. Why not?
I don't think that's what kind of career choice he would take.
Not even to play the villain?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
I just don't think so.
Hmm.
Because it's Amazon owned now.
partly owned.
It's Amazon.
We've talked about this.
I know we've talked about this.
We've spoken.
We have spoken about this.
It's still the Broccoli family in control.
We'll see.
James is so
We'll fucking see.
anti-Prime.
We'll see. I'm not anti-Prime. It's just that they ruin a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
What can I say?
What is?
I
there
love
to
some
say?
of their stuff. I really do. I do love some Prime stuff. I do. But oftentimes they kind of ruin stuff.
We're just still not over Lord of the Rings.
I have not gotten over Rings of Power. Anyways,
I think it would be a great Bond villain. I think he would do it.
I think he would be a
He
great.
could do it. Why don't you take it away with the next one?
If you stop quoting The Departed, I
I
will.
can't. I have a problem.
Next up, we have A Christmas Carol, which has been made into 28 films.
Another Dickens classic.
Another one.
Another one.
And this is just theatrical releases in major films. There have been, I think, like over 50 versions of this made into.
Whoa, over 50? I'm sorry.
You know, I don't think I can continue this, man. This is ridiculous. These conditions are absurd. Absurd.
You're like Laura Linney in The Truman Show.
How?
I can't keep working under these conditions.
Yeah. Mococo Coco.
Who are you talking to?
Who are you talking to? Most recent version of this was what?
There's always a Scrooge movie.
There's always a Scrooge movie, but there was one recently. So 2009, we had the animated version. There was one recently that was 2012's A Christmas Carol. 2015's A Christmas Carol. This has just been remade all over the world, basically.
Yeah.
But then we have heavy influences of characters like it. But in 2019, Guy Pearce was in one as well, called A Christmas Carol First Look, which is a BBC production.
Yeah, I remember seeing billboards for that one.
And even you could say the Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell Christmas movie, Spirited, is sort of an adaptation of A Christmas Carol as well.
Definitely. Yeah.
So there's not necessarily movies named A Christmas Carol, but a ton of adaptations
it's not like
based off of it.
It's not an adaptation of the novel exactly. It's based on it. Based on the novel.
Yeah.
We'll get into another one that's like that too very soon.
Let's do it.
But next up we have another period piece romance in Pride and Prejudice. The classic tale has been adapted into a shocking number of 29 movies in total. 29 films for Pride and Prejudice from around the world. Obviously, the most famous one is the Joe Wright one, with Keira Knightley and Angus McFadyen as Mr. Darcy. But the Darcy character has been played by Colin Firth, a bunch of other great actors. I mean, it's been TV movies on BBC, produced all over the world. Pride and Prejudice, very, very common movie.
True. All right, let's get into another. Then we have, this is our first Shakespeare. We did Shakespeare one already, right?
First one.
First William Shakespeare. We have
Friday the 13th is Shakespeare.
Totally forgot about that. Hamlet has been adapted into 31 films. And oftentimes, a lot of Hamlet adaptations aren't even called Hamlet. They're loosely based off of it. Sort of, The Northman's are very much a version of Hamlet. But sometimes you get a movie that's straight up called Hamlet. Even
Ethan Hawke's in one.
Yeah,
It's
Ethan
like
Hawke's,
a modern one. It's not called Hamlet.
Also, I mean, The Lion King is a version of Hamlet in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It is Hamlet, basically. So Hamlet, it's an interesting adaptation because it's become such an ambiguous, I guess, umbrella storytelling story that you can make an animated movie about lions or a movie about Vikings using the foundations of Hamlet.
And also, it's common to film a performance of it and air it as a TV movie. Mm-hmm. Mel Gibson was in one of those. And so it's always been common, especially in England, to perform it and air that as a TV film.
And Tim Roth and Gary Oldman were in one as well that came out, I can't remember what year it was. I think it was the 1990s.
Oh, that's a good pair. Tim Roth and Gary Oldman. Yeah. That's a good one.
They were in a Hamlet film as well.
All right, next up, we have our first Dostoevsky novel with Crime and Punishment, which is one of the most commonly adapted movies in history. It hasn't been adapted for quite some time, but it was extremely popular in the 20th century for sure. 33. That's crazy.
Next up, we have Godzilla. Our buddy all the way from Japan has had over 38 movies made over the years. Most recently, we had the epic Godzilla -1. Just an all-time character. Moving on next to another classic piece of literature that's been adapted several times into movies. We have Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. There are over 123 short and feature-length film versions of this story. The original was in 1931. The book came out in, I think it was